Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And we got a nice episode lined up for you today. We're going to talk about the Game Awards nominees. We're going to talk about that Xbox showcase. We have some other things that I've been playing this past week, including Dispatch. Finally got on that, and Kirby Air Riders, among other things. And we got a nice little coming soon section for you with some Hellraiser, if you like Hellraiser, and other things as well. So, today we're going to get started with the oldest news, which is the Game Awards nominees, which is under the What's in the News category. Okay, so the Game Awards nominees, I feel like this year is relatively standard. I mean, I say standard, but it's like there's really no controversy this year. I mean, there was a couple of things that I'll bring up while talking about each of these categories, but for the most part, I feel like it's a relatively good year for the Game Awards. You know, I'm pretty critical of the whole award show being done like a month before the year ends. But this year they did fix one thing that I've complained about almost every single year, and that is that they do have some December games linked in here. So I was kind of like, wow, okay, we're actually doing some December titles, huh? That's good. That's good because there's so many December games that get ignored by the Game Awards. So. Yes, that is one of the good things that has happened this year. I mean, I think in general the lists on these the games on the list they're good. I agree with most of the picks, and of course I will talk about when I don't. So let's just dive right in to the Game of the Year nominees. They are Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2. Hollow Knight Silksong, and a surprise, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I like this list, even though I haven't played the 1.0 version of Hades 2. I think that it's still a very popular game, and it's been being worked on for quite a while now. So it's nice to see the efforts of their work rewarded here. I mean, you want to say like, what's the no-brainer here? I mean, I think Expedition 33 is the no-brainer in terms of what's going to win at the awards show. Do I want Expedition 33 to win? I wouldn't be angry if Expedition 33 won. I mean, it's a game that has took this year by storm. There are people who have never played an RPG or a turn-based RPG playing it and falling in love with it. And I think most people who remember back when the game first came out, there was a bunch of people who were like, why does everyone like this game? What the heck is with this game? Then they go and play it, and they go, oh, I know what's with this game. Yeah, it's just a good all-around good game. Like, it's just a very fun, good experience, and it's very, very story-heavy at times, and it's also pretty wacky. And Clair Obscur is almost like the Everything Everywhere All at Once nominee for the Video Game Awards this year. And I'm thinking that much like Everything Everywhere All at Once, Clair Obscur will win a lot of awards this year. Most likely Game of the Year as well. Death Stranding 2, yes, it is a very good sequel to the original game, which was also nominated for Game of the Year. I have no issues with Death Stranding 2 being here. Graphically, it's a leap forward in graphical fidelity. Gameplay-wise, it is relatively the same. And back when I was talking about this game, when I finished it, it does feel a bit too easy. Death Stranding 1 definitely had more of a bit of a difficulty curve while you were going through it. But this one kind of starts you off right away with all the gadgets and gizmos you could ever need. And it just kind of goes from there. It just gives you more and more and more things to the point where deliveries just kind of become more of a chore than anything else. But I think in general, the story beats and, graphically, it looks really good. It sounds really good. It has a great soundtrack. It is a complete package if you're looking for a sequel to Death Stranding. Donkey Kong Bonanza, last week when I was talking about this, I said, well, it's either going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza or it's going to be Mario Kart World. And Donkey Kong Bonanza is the right choice here. I will say it is the right choice here. This is a fantastic 3D platformer, smash 'em up, I guess you could call it. And even though the bosses are a bit too easy at times, I think in general it does end on a very high note, and it does leave the door open for you to go back and play more of the game with some more little storylines branching off of the main story. And I love the dynamic between Paulina and Donkey Kong. I would say the only section of this game that kind of let me down was the Diddy Kong section where you're racing on the Rambi. But other than that, like the rest of the game is absolutely stunning. It's almost like a perfect experience, minus some frame rate issues. So yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza, very fun game, very good game, and I'm glad that it's here. I'm glad that it's here and that Mario Kart World is not here, because then I would have to bitch about Mario Kart World being up for Game of the Year and not Donkey Kong Bonanza. But we're fine. Everything's fine. I already kind of talked about Hades 2. I haven't played the 1.0 version. I do plan on at least trying it before the year is over, just to see, how it does, how it looks, how it feels. When I played the alpha or whatever, the open, what was it called? Early access. It just kind of felt like Hades 2, which is like, yeah, that's a good thing. Visually, it had a little bit more flair with like the green and the black vibes going on. It's more witchy. Obviously, Hades is more of like it's kind of in the name. It's more of a Hades vibe to it. It's lots of deep reds and stuff like that. Whereas Hades 2 is about being, this witchy type character who has a lot of green vibes to them. And I like the green vibes personally, and they did crispen up the graphical style. So yeah, it's a very good game. I just have not played the newest version of it yet. Hollow Knight Silksong, you know how I feel about this game. I feel like the original Hollow Knight is better. And even though I liked the game, don't get me wrong, it didn't make me want to go back and play through more of it, at least not right away. So, as opposed to, Kingdom Come or Donkey Kong Bonanza or Death Stranding, like I haven't gone back to Hollow Knight Silksong because I just haven't felt the need to. And I think that out of all the nominations here, like I like to see Silksong here personally. Like I know there's a lot of people with the opposite opinion of me, which it's not like I'm saying that the game is trash. I just think it's above average, right? I think it's just good. But there's a lot of people who really love this game and have been playing it religiously. And I do think that it's cool that a team of 5 developers, they got their game on the Game of the Year list here. Pretty cool indeed. And then the kind of like the sleeper game here, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think this is one that most people who are voting on this are going to look past. In all honesty, it's a bit of an odd one to put here. But I love the pick. When I was watching the video, I audibly gasped. I was like, "Damn, okay, they're actually like this list is actually almost 100%. I would agree with this list." Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was the first 5 out of 5 I gave this year. I fell in love with this game. I thought it was a perfect sequel to Kingdom Come, and yeah, there was a lot of great characters to meet, a lot of good interactions. Like, if you're looking for a pure RPG experience, like, this is that. It's definitely a role-playing game akin to something like Dungeons and Dragons, in all honesty. But obviously, it's more grounded in reality instead of being a fantasy. But that it's unique for this list of games. This is unique, and I'm there for it. I'm 100% there for it. So, yeah, what do I think is going to win? I think Expedition 33 is like the clear winner here. But honestly, I think my pick out of this list, I wanted to vote for the underdog here, and I went with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for my pick for the voting. I was like, yeah, everyone's going to be voting for Expedition 33 or Silksong, I feel like, on this list. So I'm going to do something a little different, and so I did. I went with the bit of the underdog there. All right, we have Best Game Direction for Outstanding Creative Vision and Innovation in Game Direction and Design. The nominees are Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. Me personally, when I think of innovation in game direction, I don't normally look at sequels for something like this because a lot of sequels are just the game again, but maybe with a few different tweaks. And I feel like Hades 2 is a prime example of that, where it's like it's most likely a great sequel, but how different is it to the original game, and how innovative is it compared to the original game? Hades 1 started that boom of roguelites. Roguelites just started flowing in after Hades 1, and you can say the same thing about Vampire Survivors. When Vampire Survivors hit, all of a sudden there was a lot of those, these little survival games where you don't control your actions, right? And now there's so many games in these separate genres. So Hades 2 is like a good, like, we went from being the being the roguelite like alpha, and now we are the roguelite omega. Because right now, I mean, I personally don't. I try to stay away from roguelites at this point, because they're all feeling very similar at this point in time. But Hades still has a very unique feel to it. Now, like I said, is it innovative enough to put it on this list? I don't think so. I think it could have been, this list could have had something else filled in here. But at the same time, it's an okay pick. Like, I don't mind it being here. Split Fiction, it does build off of what Hazelight Studios has done before with A Way Out and It Takes Two. With Split Fiction, though, I feel like they really raised the bar on genre combining, genre mashing, just taking a genre like platforming and then just changing it completely to, a ping pong machine, or a third-person shooter. Like, they just change constantly in the game, which is what I loved about It Takes Two. It Takes Two also took that concept and said, hey, we're just going to change the genre like every chapter. And they kind of did the same thing with Split Fiction, except I feel like in Split Fiction they definitely really went into that co-op element and made it so that you are really, really working together through things. And that happened in It Takes Two as well, but I feel like in Split Fiction it's more apparent and more forward that you are just doing all these objectives together. So I think that's a good pick here. Ghost of Yotei, it takes, once again, its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima. It takes that idea and brings it over and says, okay, how can we tweak this? And so, you have the multiple weapons for Ghost of Yotei. You have a very different character for Ghost of Yotei who is hell-bent on revenge. You have not like a Mongol invasion, but you have a Lord Saito, coming in and trying to take over this area from the Mitsume, who are the samurai of the region. So it's a very different vision. I don't know if the game is wholly innovative. I don't think there was really anything here that I would say was super different from Ghost of Tsushima, other than like adding in the multiple weapons and the rifle and pistol, which you don't get until the very end of the game anyway. So it's like, how innovative is this? Yeah, I feel like, between Hades 2 and Ghost of Yotei, I mean, Ghost of Yotei definitely does more innovation that I could tangibly see, but at the same time, like, is it really innovative to just kind of, have the same stand system but add in a couple new weapons, or, add in the rifle? I don't know how innovative that truly is. Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I don't. I would say, like, seeing 3 sequels on this list is like, I feel like out of all the categories, this is the one that I disagree with the most, because there are 3 sequel games here and 2 original games here, 2 new IP. And even though Hazelight, technically Split Fiction is just like a continuation of the Hazelight formula, it does feel fresh and unique. Death Stranding 2, once again, amazing game. I'm not trying to shit on any of these games here. But the fact that Death Stranding 2 is on here, when it's really just like Death Stranding 1 plus, right? You get all the same equipment from Death Stranding 1 plus a lot of new things as well, but at the same time, is it innovative? It's creative. Sure, it's very creative. And maybe that's the part that Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei and Hades 2 are leaning on for this category. But personally, like, is Death Stranding 2 innovative in game direction? I don't know if it's innovative, because it is just... It's Death Stranding 1 again, right? So that's just my opinion there for these 3 games. Expedition 33, I think, is the clear winner here. It is the most innovative, and it does have the best creative division out of these games that are here, in my opinion. I think that the world design and the ideas that this game has, it is innovative in game direction. Whereas, like instead of it just being a turn-based game, it does have some real-time action, like quick time events almost with dodging and parrying. And it like a lot of people compared this game to a Souls-like game when it first came out as well, because the combat is pretty punishing until you get used to it. And yeah, I just think like in general, like is it like a super big leap forward for turn-based RPGs? I would honestly say maybe. Like honestly, like I think that Expedition 33 is we're gonna see a boom of turn-based games, I think, in the future here. And once those start coming around, you can come back to this podcast and timestamp this and say, "Hey, look who was right," and that would be me. But maybe I won't be right. I don't know. But anyway, I did vote for Expedition 33 on this one. It just seemed like the clear winner to me. And like I said, this was the one that I had the most issues with the games chosen. And I'm not saying that Death Stranding and Ghost of Yotei and Hades 2 are shit games and they shouldn't be here. I'm just saying, like, in terms of innovation, I don't see it here with these sequels, right? I would honestly have put Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 here over these other three games, but let's move on. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. This one is pretty clear cut. We have Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F. I think there is a clear winner here, and that is Expedition 33. I think it had the best story beats out of all these games, even though I love Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's story, and Death Stranding 2 had a great story as well. I did not play Silent Hill F, so I do not have any opinions on that. But Clear Obscure Expedition 33, I mean, that one took you through some freaking twists and turns, I tell you what. Like that, this was, like, Expedition 33 was like storytelling to its cranked up to 11, essentially. Like the twists and the overall story is just so crazy in the game. I would be pretty upset if this did not win best narrative. But I think that it is a clear winner here in all facets. We have best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation, and this is another good list in my opinion. We have Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. I think all these games do have pretty good at least technical achievements are definitely here for sure. Design and animation. I mean, I've seen the animations for Hades 2 and Hollow Knight, and obviously, I think Ghost of Yotei is the outlier here, where it's like I don't know if that's really truly like a technical achievement, but at the same time, like, it's a very nice looking game. My vote here, though, was for Death Stranding 2. I think that in terms of graphical fidelity and animations and just the design of the world and stuff like that, like, there are moments where you're walking through, like, Mexico or you're walking through Australia, and you're like, damn, this just looks like real life. Like, this is so detailed. The little creatures running around, the soldiers and stuff like that in the distance, like all these like buildings and decrepit things, like it all just looks realistic. And that is one thing that Death Stranding 1 also tried to do, and it did that very well as well. But Death Stranding 2 just like took it to the next mile, so that's why I voted for Death Stranding 2. I think like graphically, it is the best looking game of the year for sure. Best score and music, pretty self-explanatory. We have Hollow Knight Silksong, Hades 2, Expedition 33, Ghost of Yotei, and Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I think all these games have very good soundtracks to them. I've been watching people play Hades 2, and the soundtrack is very good in that. Silksong does have a very good soundtrack as well. I could see that winning too. Expedition 33, though, the music in this game does kind of go off the charts as well. I think it's story and music-wise, like Expedition 33 does take the cake here in both these categories. It's almost not really even a competition in my eyes for this category. Even though I love the soundtrack of Death Stranding 2, and I thought the Ghost of Yotei did have a good soundtrack for sure, I just think that Expedition 33 kind of rises above all these other ones with its musical themes and stuff like that. So I had to vote for Expedition 33 here. My hands are tied. Jumping off of that, we have Best Audio Design. Pretty self-explanatory category as well. We have Battlefield 6, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, and Silent Hill F. If there's any category here that's going to have a bit of a, I don't want to say throw a bone type scenario, but I think Ghost of Yotei could win this one. I think the sound design in that game was very good, swords clashing and all that. I did not play Silent Hill F, so once again, I can't comment on that one. Battlefield 6 is a good one here. It does have very good audio design. Expedition 33 also has very good audio design as well. There's some creatures that make some pretty cool noises. For me, though, personally, Death Stranding 2 took my vote here. Audio design in Death Stranding 2 is off the charts. It's very very realistic. The sound of the sand or different terrain underneath, Norman Reedus's boots, Sam's boots, just really immerses you in there. So much cool sound design in this game as well. But I think all these games, minus maybe Silent Hill F, which I haven't played, feel like they deserve to be here. So this one is a bit of a toss-up category. And if I was a betting man, I would probably say like, they'll probably give this one to like Ghost of Yotei or something like that. Throw a bone to one of the other nominees here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Best performance. We have Ben Starr, who is in Expedition 33, Charlie Cox, Expedition 33, Erika Ishii from Ghost of Yotei, Jennifer English from Expedition 33, and Konatsu Kato from Silent Hill F, and Troy Baker from Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I think these are all great actors and actresses. I think they all did well in their roles. Once again, Silent Hill F, I did not play the game, so I cannot comment on that, unfortunately. I do think that we could have probably taken out one of the Expedition 33 members here and replaced it with another character. I feel like having 3 nominations here is just like, hey, we're going to boost up the numbers for Expedition 33, make it a really gigantic year for them. And it's like, I appreciate that, sure, but also at the same time, like, I feel like Charlie Cox and Jennifer English are good enough here. And I understand why they put Ben Starr on here, because he is a high-profile voice actor in this industry next to Troy Baker. But at the same time, I feel like his performance in Expedition 33 is not as an explosion like Charlie Cox or Jennifer English, who played Mael, and Charlie Cox played Gustav. I feel like those 2 performances right there are the best performances from the game. And Ben Starr's character, like, he was a fun side character, but at the same time, I don't know if he deserves to be... Well, I mean, he obviously deserves it, but I don't think he should have been nominated for the category here, and we could have replaced him with someone else. And that's not me hating on Ben Starr. I mean, I loved his performance in Final Fantasy 16. Like, I enjoy his voice acting in most of his roles, and this one I enjoyed his role as his character, but also at the same time, probably could have put someone else here. My vote goes for Troy Baker. He was able to really change himself into Indiana Jones, like a young Harrison Ford, and I think that voice acting, like, it's much more difficult to try and be someone else than it is to make your own character. And as the great and wonderful Jim Cummings always says, when you're doing a bad impression of someone, you're making a new character. But Troy Baker does a spot-on, near-perfect performance as Harrison Ford, and that just, to me, is so impressive. I feel like that is the most impressive thing here. If Troy Baker doesn't win this, it would be a bit of a shame. But, I mean, this is a stacked category as well. I do agree with all these actors and actresses being here. But I feel like Troy Baker just he really went above and beyond with his role, and mimicking and being able to sound exactly like, and also like use like all the mannerisms from Harrison Ford and stuff like that. He did, doing that so well. I feel like he should definitely win this category. Innovation in accessibility. We have Assassin's Creed Shadows, Atomfall, Doom: The Dark Ages, EA Sports FC 26, and South of Midnight. So there is some description on the accessibility in these games. So Atomfall is Rebellion's most accessible game to date, built with accessibility in mind. Doom: The Dark Ages is very approachable and accessible. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I mean, I feel like all these games have really good accessibility options in them. But I felt like Doom: The Dark Ages had the best accessibility options, because not only can you make the game piss easy if you want, but you can also slow down the game. You can remap all the controls. Like there's so much here. I feel like Doom: The Dark Ages should win this category, even though I'm sure all these games have very good accessibility to them. I just feel like Doom: The Dark Ages here, like in terms of like other Doom games, like it has the most accessible options for the most people to be able to play and enjoy the game. So I would vote for Doom: The Dark Ages. Games for impact. These are games that are thought-provoking and have a pro-social meaning or message. We have Consume Me, Despolite, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, South of Midnight, and Wanderstop. And I have not played Bloom and Rage, Despolite, or Consume Me. But I do think that in general, these are the games that I would envision being here. I've read the description of some of these other games, and they sound very impactful. I feel like Despolite is going to win this category because this is the game that Jeff Keighley actually talked about quite a lot on his various social media accounts. And I mean, I say that like a lot, but he brought it up a couple times, which when those things happen, it kind of leads me to think like, okay, Despolite is probably going to win some awards this year. At the same time, though, I do feel like Wanderstop, out of all these games, I feel like I would vote for Wanderstop. Like, playing through that game, and it does have a lot of really fun characters to interact with, but they all have their tragic and impactful stories associated with them. And I just thought that like the overall story of Wanderstop was very good, very enjoyable there. So I voted for Wanderstop. I could easily have voted for South of Midnight as well, but Wanderstop was the one that I voted for here. Best ongoing game. Obviously, there's games that came out in the past and are being updated regularly. We have Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. Honestly, No Man's Sky should probably win this award every year with how much they do to the game. But this year, I would probably vote for Marvel Rivals. I feel like Marvel Rivals has had a pretty skyrocketing launch to its hero shooter mechanics. Like, it came out at the end of last year, and I mean, I played it a bit, but I wasn't like super crazy about it. But watching gameplay of it now, it does seem like they've really improved the game. They've added in a lot of new characters and stuff like that. So, and they've also had like a whole new like modes in there as well. Like they had like a zombies, the wave defense mode or whatever that they added in for Halloween. Like that's cool shit. That's cool shit right there. Helldivers 2 is also another one that could win this category. I think that they might throw Helldivers a bone either here or in the next category, which I'll talk about. But Helldivers 2 has also been updated pretty regularly throughout the year. A little bit of ups and downs, though, with the community, but still, very good there. Fortnite, I mean, this one's going to show up every year until it's dead, which it won't probably die ever. They are constantly just new seasons, new content, new maps, new whatever, new weapons. They're constantly doing stuff with that. The only one I really don't know about is Final Fantasy XIV, but I'm sure that does have really good support to it as well. I think I've seen Nomad Eric play that so much over the years. So obviously they're still doing something right if people are still putting their time into it. So yeah, I voted for Marvel Rivals, though. Seems to be the one that has the best support, the least controversial, I guess, the least talked about. But No Man's Sky probably should win this category. And then, like I said, we have Best Community Support. This is for outstanding social media support and stuff like that, responsiveness. The nominees here are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. Once again, I feel like No Man's Sky could win this one. Fortnite probably could win this one. Final Fantasy, Baldur's Gate. But I voted for Helldivers 2 here. And I feel like it could be either or, right? Helldivers 2 could win the last one or could win this one. I feel like they will throw Helldivers 2 a bone in one of these categories because it kind of missed the award show. Like I feel like it really missed the award show last year, right? I don't think it even won Best Multiplayer Game. So I'm trying to think back. I don't remember it winning anything, which is a shame because it was a fun game. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We have Best Independent Game for outstanding creative and technical achievements in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. We have Absalom, Ball X Pit, Blue Prince, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. I think all these nominees are good. Expedition 33, I feel like that's going to win this one hands down, even though I know a lot of people are probably going to vote for Silksong or Hades 2. It's just one of those things where it's like Claire Obscure. Like this was such a, once again, like I said at the beginning of the of the section, just such a monumental achievement in gaming that was able to break boundaries of genre and stuff like that. I just feel like, if it's there, it's probably going to win. Same thing can be said about Hades 2 and Silksong. Like, these are all 3 Game of the Year nominees, so it's almost like, damn, like Blueprints, Ball Pit, Absalom, these just don't feel like they have any chance of winning this category. Especially because Hollow Knight, once again, made by a very small team, took a while to come out, but it's very polished, very good. And Hades 2, obviously, started in early access, came out, people love it. But yeah, I mean, if Expedition 33 doesn't win here, and it does win Game of the Year, kind of be a little bit fishy. But I voted for Ball Pit because gotta throw some love to the more. I mean, I don't even want to say like this game is underground because it is very popular too, but I just feel like this is another stacked category, which like all these games probably deserve to win this award, but at the same time, like I probably know what's going to win, and I just want to vote for something else, right? I just want to vote for something else. I know what's probably going to win, but I want to vote for something else, so I want to vote for Ball Pit, much like the Game of the Year category. Best Debut Indie Game. The nominees are Blueprints, Expedition 33, Despolite, and Dispatch. Mega Bonk was here at one point, but they bowed out of the nominations because it wasn't actually their first game. They felt like it was a bit of a they just didn't feel right being in this category simply because Mega Bonk apparently is like their second game, maybe not as a studio, but in general it's not their first game, which it is difficult to see that because if you click on the developer's name on Steam, they don't have any other games associated with that developer, but the individual people, I believe, worked on another game and released it before actually combining to become a studio, which is unfortunate that they had to bow out here, but it is very admirable of them to do that and be cut and clean about it, be open about it. So appreciate that, and maybe the Game Awards should do maybe a little bit more research on these things before just throwing out nominations. But in general, I think this is a pretty good category, even without Mega Bonk being here. If Mega Bonk was here, be a perfect category because Mega Bonk is also a huge game, a 3D Vampire Survivors action game. My vote went to Dispatch. I'll talk about Dispatch later in this episode, but my vote's going for Dispatch here. I could definitely see Despolite or Expedition 33 winning this one. Blueprints too. I mean, that was a pretty big game when it came out. I think it's kind of lost a bit of its I don't know. People aren't talking about it as much anymore, but it still was a very good game. So I feel like this is a good category, nevertheless, and I think Claire Obscura is probably going to win this one. It is the one Game of the Year nominee in this list. But, maybe this year they'll surprise me and they'll, even though this game is Game of the Year nominee, it won't win some of these categories that I feel like it's a shoo-in to win, but we'll see. Best mobile game. I really don't have anything to say about these. I voted for Sonic Rumble, but the other ones are Destiny Rising, Persona 5, The Phantom X, Una Masume, Pretty Derby, and Withering Waves. I feel like the Horse Girl game is going to win, but I voted for Sonic Rumble. I don't know anything about any of these games, so it's just kind of like I'll pick the one that I recognize the character in. So such a situation. Kind of the same thing here for best VR or AR game. We have Alien Rogue Incursion, Arcane Age, Ghost Town, Marvel's Deadpool VR, and The Midnight Walk. And I did enjoy The Midnight Walk quite a lot. I'm sure it would be pretty cool in VR. Marvel's Deadpool VR, I feel like this game literally just came out, so they're kind of like skirting under that Game Awards nomination period line there, but probably is a pretty good game. The one I voted for, though, was Alien Rogue Incursion because that game came out in December last year. I feel like out of all these VR games, I don't know, it just looks the coolest. Honestly, that's it, pretty much it. I could see them, though, going for Deadpool VR, I'm sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Best action game. For a game that is primarily focused on combat, we have Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Once again, Hades 2 is a Game of the Year nominee, so it might win this category, but I could definitely see Battlefield 6, Ninja Gaiden 4 winning this. My vote, though, went for Doom the Dark Ages. I think in general it is the best Doom game that has come out since 2016's Doom, which I know isn't a lot of games. There's only 3 games there, but I like this game more than Doom Eternal, which I know might be a bit controversial, but I love the shield, I love the weaponry, I love the aesthetics and the vibes, the medieval vibes. I really enjoyed playing as that giant mech character. There's a reason why I gave the game a 5 out of 5. It's because I thought it was just a perfect like Doom experience, and it felt more akin to 2016, which I do like 2016 more than Doom Eternal. So that's just my opinion, though, and that's why I voted for it. But there's a lot of good games in this category. I wish that I got around to playing Ninja Gaiden or Shinobi, and maybe I still will try out one of these two games before the year is up, but definitely will not be able to finish it based on how many games I still want to finish this year. Best Action Adventure, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. We have Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Hollow Knight Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction. I think this is another good category. Don't have many complaints here. I voted for Death Stranding 2. Nothing else to say there. Best RPG, for a game designed with rich player character customization, progression, and also includes massive multiplayer experiences. So we have Avowed, Expedition 33, Deliverance, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. I've played 3 out of these 5. I have not played Outer Worlds 2 or Monster Hunter Wilds. I feel like in general the consensus around Monster Hunter Wilds is it's like a good game, but not the best game in the series. The Outer Worlds 2, though, is reviewing very well. I would like to play that, maybe try it out before the year's up. And the other 3 games, Avowed, I wasn't super into Avowed, as you know. Not really crazy about that one. So yeah, it comes down to Kingdom Come 2 and Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and I mean either of these games could honestly win this one. But I think like if we're going for pure RPG, like choose your own adventure kind of thing, you have to go with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I feel like in general, like as an RPG, it just shines as a build your character and do your thing kind of game. So that's why I went with Kingdom Come 2. Best Fighting Game, we have 2XKO, Capcom Fighting Collection, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. I don't specifically like that they're putting in these collections into the category. I feel like they are collections of old games, and they're good games. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I don't know if they deserve to be here over other fighting games, and maybe it was a slow year for fighting games. I don't know. I'm not really in the know. I mean, it's the Game Awards' duty to look at the entire slate of experiences and say, hey, what's the best fighting games? And I just feel like putting in collections into these lists is a bit like, we could have, put other actual releases into this category. But at the same time, it's not that big of a deal to me personally, but if you're a fighting game fan, there might be something snubbed here, I voted for Fatal Fury because I don't really know what to vote for here. I just kind of picked the one in the middle. Best Family Game. This is the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. The nominees are Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction. The one controversial thing here is that Split Fiction is rated T for teen, so technically it is not a kid's game, or a family game, I should say. There is swearing in it, there's murder, there is comic mischief. Everything that makes a T-rated game T-rated is in Split Fiction, so it's kind of bizarre that they put that game here, and I feel like could have been a different game nominated here. I mean, would you nominate It Takes Two for Best Family Game? I don't remember if it was. It Takes Two was also pretty like brutal at times, but that one actually makes more sense because it's toys and it's all that stuff. But Split Fiction, like that is like they're swearing, they're killing things. Like I feel like that is the least kid appropriate game out of this whole list here. It's still a good game, but it's like damn, like why are they putting T-rated games here? I think this category is going to come down to Donkey Kong Bonanza or Mario Kart World. I feel like Mario Kart World is going to win this category, even though I think most people like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds better. But we'll see what happens. I voted for Donkey Kong Bonanza here though because Game of the Year nominee, and also I felt like it was the best of the family games that I played this year for sure. Best simulation or strategy game. we have Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Tempest Rising, The Altars, and 2 Point Museum. My one main gripe about this category is Sid Meier Civilization 7 was not a great experience when I played that. They just really took the formula of Sid Meier, Civilization, and threw it out the window essentially, and it didn't work as well for me. I got a refund for the game pretty early on because it was $70, and I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm gonna play this game anymore. Like after this, because like it was just like such a drag to get through get through things, and then they pause the game and then reload it in order to get you to the next age, which I thought was really stupid. My vote though went for The Altars. Out of all these games, I played some of them. Sid Meier and The Altars, and I played a little bit of the demo for 2 Point Museum. Yeah, The Altars was the one that like stood out to me as like the most unique in this category, but I really don't have any opinions here. Best Sports and Racing, which FYI, once again, racing is a sport. Okay, racing is a sport. We have EA Sports FC 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World, Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I've only played a Rematch and Mario Kart World from this list here. So I wanted to vote for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, but I haven't played it. I don't feel right voting for it. And between Mario Kart World and Rematch, I would rather play Mario Kart World again, so I voted for Mario Kart World. And I feel like it could win this category. I felt like Rematch was kind of like a one-and-done type game for me. And these other games, I mean, they're just classic sports franchises, you know. So we'll see what wins, but my vote was for Mario Kart World. Best multiplayer, we have Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. I think all these games deserve to be here. Like, sure, Arc Raiders has a bit of controversy with some AI voices in there. Like, that's fine. I'm not fine. That's not fine, but I'm saying, like, in general, like, it's still a fine nomination because it is a very good multiplayer game from what I've seen and what I've heard. I mean, even Angry Joe liked the game. Like, come on. I know I bring up Angry Joe like every episode, but still, like, you know, when Angry Joe likes something, you know, there's something right with the game, at least for the regular audiences. Haven't played it myself though. Battlefield 6, I do have my gripes with the game, but I'm glad that it's here and Black Ops 7 is not. Elden Ring Night Rain is probably my most played multiplayer game this year. Me and Greedy Waffles and Callus, we played this a lot, and we haven't gotten back to it in a little bit, but I do think that in general it is probably my vote for this category. Peak, very good game, enjoyable. I kind of, once again, I went in on this game early, and I talked about it early, and then it blew up. So I was kind of lost in the shuffle as the game was blowing up, and I just haven't really played it too much since then. Split Fiction is a fun one for, being a co-op game, multiplayer co-op game. Pretty fun there, but I voted for Elden Ring Night Rain. Best Adaptation, we have A Minecraft Movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell, Death Watch, The Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn. I think Until Dawn is the one that not only is it a terrible movie, but it does not authentically adapt the video game to another medium, which is in the description of the Best Adaptation. I really hope that doesn't win. I know it's a Sony studio thing, but they could have put Sonic 3 here because I believe that also came from Sony Studios, but they forgot apparently the Game Awards forgot that Sonic 3 came out this year, which is kind of crazy. All these other ones I haven't watched. I really haven't watched season 2 of Last of Us. I haven't watched Splinter Cell or Devil May Cry. I voted for A Minecraft Movie because it was the one that actually was the most impactful this year, like as a video game franchise. Minecraft, you knew that it was going to be a big movie, and people just thought it was going to come out much like the FNAF movie, and people were just going to shit on it. But I think a lot of people were actually enjoyed the movie, which is kind of crazy. But also at the same time, a lot of memes came off of it as well with Chicken Jockey and all that stuff. So I think that in general, a Minecraft movie is probably going to win this one, and that got my vote. Even though I haven't seen it, that got my vote because compared to the other things here, that's the thing I would vote for. That's all I'm saying. Most anticipated game, we have 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. Of course, I voted for Marvel's Wolverine here. Like, even though I am pretty excited for Grand Theft Auto 6 and Resident Evil Requiem, I feel like Wolverine, just from the small snippet of gameplay we got, looked amazing, incredible. And we don't even know if Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out next year still. Like, they have a tentative release date once again, but it could be pushed back again. We'll see. But yeah, pretty stacked year for for next year. I don't think that Witcher 4 or 007 First Light are going to win this category. I do feel like it's kind of a toss-up between Grand Theft Auto 6 and Wolverine, and I think that even then, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to win. So there you go. Content Creator of the Year. We have Kydrell, Kai Sinet, Moist Critical, Sakurai Miko, and The Burnt Peanut. I don't know who The Burnt Peanut is. His profile icon is a peanut with human eyes and a mouth. So I'm guessing he's like a VTuber in quotation marks there. Out of all these people here, I mean, I think it's going to either be Kai Sinet or Moist Critical. I feel like this is their first nominations, at least for Kai Sinet, I feel like. And Kai Sinet is the biggest streamer out there. Like, there's no doubt about that. And Moist Critical is one of the biggest YouTube personalities / streamers. So there you go. Once again, I do feel like there's other people who could be in this category that are big in the video game landscape, but they're not on Twitch, or they don't stream on Twitch too much, so they kind of get overlooked. But in general, I mean, I'm sure this is a good list. I feel like it's either going to be Moist Critical or Kai Sinet. I voted for Moist Critical because he's the one that I actually watch occasionally. I don't really know anything about these other people other than the general stuff. Now we're into the esports categories, and I'll probably just blaze through these here. Best esports game: Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Gaming Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. I voted for Counter-Strike 2. Best esports athlete: we have Brock, Chovy, Forsaken, Kakaru, Menard, and Zaiwu. I voted for Kakaru because I believe Odom said that he was retired, so he didn't know why he was nominated for this one. So I said, fine, vote for him. Best esports team: we have Gen G, NRG, Team Falcons, Team Liquid PH, and Team Vitality. I just picked Team Vitality because whatever. Don't really care about this category. It's important, don't get me wrong, but it's also like, I don't care. And then the player's voice, that is actually, they're going to announce the nominees for that, the 30 nominees, the day that this podcast comes out. So I won't be able to talk about that right now. But next week, I'll probably go over the 30 nominees for that. Round 1 starts on December 1st, and it goes until December 8th, when there will be 5 nominees. And then we'll get the winner at the end of it all. So yeah, we'll see what wins there. We'll see what they actually have up for nominations there as well. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see that too. So there we go. But yeah, I feel like pretty standard here, honestly. I think we kind of all knew what was going to be nominated this year. And there was a few surprises in there, like Kingdom Come 2. But in general, I think most of these categories, they kind of nailed most of them. There's a couple things here and there that I had to talk about, but other than that, like, I think like the Jeff Keighley Awards did pretty good with the games this year, so I can't complain too much, even though I do still have my complaints. But we'll see what wins when that all comes around on December 11th is the day for that, and I will be live on my Twitch channel, live reacting to that. If you want to just come by and say hey, all right. Let's move on. The Golden JoyStick Awards were actually this week, which I totally forgot about. So sorry about that. We'll go over the winners here real quick. Best Storytelling went to Expedition 33. Best Audio Design went to Ghost of Yote. Best Multiplayer Game went to Peak. Best Visuals Design, Expedition 33. Best Game Expansion went to Liza P. Overture. Best Indie Game Self-Published went to Hollow Knight Silksong. Best Indie Game went to Blueprints. Studio of the Year went to Sandfall Interactive. Best Early Access Game went to Repo. Best Soundtrack, Expedition 33. Best Game Trailer went to Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2. Still Playing on Mobile, Pokemon Go. Still Playing on Console, Minecraft. Streamer's Choice Award went to Peak. Best Remake or Remaster went to Oblivion Remastered. Breakthrough Award went to Schedule 1. Best Gaming Hardware went to the AMD Ryzen 9 9950X3D. Best Game Adaptation went to Arcane Season 2. Best Supporting Performer went to Ben Starr, and Best Lead Performer went to Jennifer English. Hall of Fame, so I guess like a a game that's getting into the Video Game Hall of Fame. The Sims. PC Game of the Year, Hollow Knight Silksong. Console Game of the Year, Ghost of Yote. Critics' Choice Award, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Most Wanted Game, Grand Theft Auto 6. And Ultimate Game of the Year went to Expedition 33. I think all these are pretty straightforward, like good winners here. Best multiplayer game going to Peak, though. That's pretty crazy. That's a bit of a eyebrow raising one, like not in a bad way. Blueprints winning indie game of the best indie game. That's pretty cool too. Love to see that. The only other one I want to mention is the Breakthrough Awards, Schedule 1. I really like this category, the Breakthrough Award, like a game that comes out and it just kind of blows up. I feel like that's a cool category to have in a award show. So, yeah. I also don't mind the Best Supporting Performer going to Ben Starr and the Best Lead Performer going to Jennifer English. I think those are two good ones. I think Troy Baker didn't win last year. But anyway, not too bad. Joystick Awards, don't have any real thoughts about that. Good list there. Finally, for the news today, Ubisoft is all in on generative AI. As Tim Rule said in the Discord, it's the same company that tried to push NFTs in the gaming landscape and was shelled to oblivion. But the CEO, Yves Guillemont, came out and said that they want to start using more generative AI in their games. Apparently, on the production side, they have teams in all the studios and offices embracing the new technologies and constantly exploring new uses for the programs, arts, and overall game quality. Oh, man, I'm sure everyone out there in these studios is just so happy that they're using generative AI tools. They're making art and music and stuff like that with AI. Oh, my gosh. Obviously, several games have come under fire for use of AI. Black Ops 7, the most recent one, because of its use of AI to generate icons and prestige tokens, which is pretty crazy to me. And Arc Raiders obviously was one of the bigger ones as well, where it actually used AI voices to voice characters in like the opening tutorial or whatever. The finals, they replaced voice actors with AI counterparts. They trained an AI on their voice and just said, okay, we don't need the actual actor anymore, which I feel like is the most damning of all of these controversies. And now Ubisoft coming out here and saying, hey, we're just going to use this for everyone, or everyone's going to be using generative AI here. So keep your eyes open for the next Ubisoft game. See how much AI you can spot in the trailers and stuff like that. If this really is the way that Ubisoft is going, I very much fear for the future of their IPs, like Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and whatever else they are deciding to put out with generative AI being a major point in these. I will say it once and I'll say it again. AI is a useful tool, much like Predator Badlands would say, but I don't think it should take over jobs. I don't think it should take over the work. I think that it's a good way to maybe do some dummy code or just get some things out of the way fast and then go over real quickly with the human eye. But to have it actually generate artwork and voices and whatever else they're planning on using this generative AI tools for, yeah, it just feels like it's taking more so over in this, at least at Ubisoft. It's just taking over here, and it's not something I want to see. I don't want to see AI generated artwork. Like, you could definitely pay someone to make a painting for you or a digital painting for you. Like, I don't feel like it needs to be AI made. Like, sure, does it save you like $50? Sure, but at the same time, like, if everything is generative AI, that means that AI is being taught based on other things. So there's going to be nothing that is going to be unique and original eventually down the road, because AI will just be trained by everything that's already come before it. And that's something that you start to see with like these AI musicians coming out there. Like, their songs sound very similar to other pop songs or popular songs in that genre, and that's because they're being trained on artists like, they're being trained on Jelly Roll, or they're being trained with I don't know, Metallica or something like that. They're being trained on these artists, so they start to sound like those artists. They can't differentiate themselves because that's what they're trained on. So at the end of the day, there's always someone who's going to be hurt by this AI stuff. At least when it's generative and it's learning off of other people's work, and it's just it just sucks. It just sucks, you know. And like I said, it's a good tool to like write some code for you, or maybe do some of the more simple tasks that are just kind of busy work. But at the same time, you still need to look over all the stuff, and you probably will need to fix some things as well, because AI isn't perfect, and I don't think it will ever be perfect unless iRobot comes around. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about Ubisoft going full AI mode. And like I said, when the next Assassin's Creed or the next big release from Ubisoft comes out, like the Black Flag remake, we got some more rumors about that. We'll see how much of it you can pick out AI stuff. We'll see. And I guess there was a poll somewhere that said like, oh, most users don't care that AI is being used in video games. I think that like the general audience probably won't mind, but the people who have been gaming their entire lives, I think they will mind. Like the general people who are like playing Call of Duty or Minecraft or whatever religiously, I don't think they're going to really care that something has AI in it. But for a lot of us who are just playing games because we love gaming, a lot of that love is being sucked out with this with AI replacing people, and it just every time you see it in a game, you can really just point it out and be like, wow, that's lazy. Just, AI picture and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. That is that. Let's go ahead and move on to what have I been playing this past week. Okay, I'm trying to make this episode shorter than the past like 3 episodes, so I'm gonna go through these games relatively quickly, I suppose. I don't want to like gloss over them because I do enjoy these games that came out this past week, or games that I played this past week. I'm gonna start off with Dispatch, though, which is the latest from a group of people who worked on Wolf Among Us and the Borderlands Telltale game. 2 of the best Telltale games that came out, and honestly, the last ones that were super, super memorable. Even though I did like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, I like that one. There's just something to be said about Wolf Among Us, The Walking Dead Season 1, and Borderlands. I feel like they nailed those games pretty well. So Dispatch coming out, this is the game where you play as a Batman type character who he doesn't have superpowers, but he uses like a mech suit as to be a superhero, and his mech suit gets destroyed in the opening cutscene, and he's kind of lost, doesn't know what to do. He's going around to bars, picking fights with people, and another character comes around and is like, "Hey, do you want to join our company and dispatch?" Name of the game, dispatch the heroes to where they need to be. So you go through a bit of a tutorial section, but the game really opens up once episode 2 starts. Episode 1 is deceivingly simple in a lot of ways, both with story and with the game mechanics. And each episode, they kind of grow the story and grow the mechanics of this dispatching job. And the better you do at dispatching your heroes, the better the story is going to be, and the better the outcomes are going to be as well. So there's a lot of like little things you can do in here to improve the story and improve your characters. So what really is Dispatch? So you're playing as this character. He's kind of undercover, like no one knows that I'm the Mecha Man, But there are some people who do know that he's Mecha Man, so it's like it's like okay, but you start the job and you find out that you are going to be helming Z Team, which is the villains who are trying to be good. They're not like totally good yet. They're kind of like anti-heroes, but they're trying to do good in the superhero world. They're done being villains. So you have a list of really fun characters. Flambe. You have like this little macho guy who's voiced by Jacksepticeye, who's really fun. One of my favorite characters was Golem. He was like this guy who was made of clay, which, obviously I love Clayface as a Batman villain. He's a little bit different, though. But you have like all these cool characters, all voiced by pretty popular people. Alana Pierce is in this game. Jacksepticeye, like I said. Moist Critical is in the game, too. But obviously the main character, Mecha Man, is voiced by Aaron Paul, right? Yeah, Aaron Paul of fame, who was in... Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad. But there's a lot of actually there's a lot of really good voice work in here from people who you didn't really expect to be doing voice work. Like Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, even Young Gravy does the voice for Golem. I keep saying Golem, who was a very fun character as well. But all the characters in this game are just written so well. Like it's such a well written Telltale-esque game. I'm going to call it a narrative adventure, even though you don't have any control over your character. That's the main difference here between a Telltale game and Dispatch here is like you don't really have control over your character. You can't like walk around the office and interact with people. It's very much a straightforward this is the story. You're kind of on, you're in the story, and you have choices to make, but you're not controlling the character per se. Even though there is QuickTime events, which can be turned off if you want to turn them off. There's QuickTime events and there's things to choose. You don't have control over your character until you are doing the dispatch work, where you are sending these villains to these calls and you're hoping that everything goes okay. And they have their own strengths and weaknesses. There's it's almost like an RPG in a way too, where you're putting points into specific slots for the character. So if a character starts out having really good strength and really good charisma, you kind of want to just grow off of that by making them super strong and super charismatic and maybe flesh it out a little bit so you have a little bit of extra there. But there's a bit of an octagon kind of graph that grows as you put points into the characters, and when you send them off to a dispatch call, that graph will be overlaid over the graph of the call. So if you send someone who's very smart, who has high intelligence, and they don't really have much else, and you send them to a call that requires a lot of fight ability or protection ability, they're probably not going to do well. And there's this little random event that happens if you don't have it fully enveloped inside your graph. And there's an 85% chance that you'll fail the mission. So it ping pongs around the graph, and if it lands outside of your character's graph zone, it's a failure. If it lands inside the graph zone, it's a success. So there's a bit of a random element in there if you're not super leveled up yet, or you didn't get the character or didn't get the right character out there. And it becomes pretty apparent what you need in terms of what their stats need to be for each call. The main problem that I was having, which is not a problem with the game, a problem that I was having as a dispatcher, was the fact that I was sending out the same character a lot because I was like, oh, they need fighting and stuff like that. Well, Golem. Why do I keep saying Gollum? Golem. He's really good at fighting and protection, so I'm going to send him to all these different calls. And he also has a special ability that he can multiply himself if he's sent alone and all that stuff. So yeah, so it started to become well, I don't have a character for this one because I sent my character who's really smart to a call already, which they might not have needed to go to with someone else. So there was a whole bunch of stuff where it's you just kind of had to, when you're early on, you got to start realizing okay, we need to really pinpoint what characters need to go where. And by the time that I was at the last episode 8, I really knew what I was doing. I had my characters leveled up pretty well. And I was able to get through that final episode without too many problems, even though it was still, obviously, difficult. It wasn't super difficult where I was failing every single thing. So that it was pretty satisfying at the end to really see my efforts come to fruition. So yeah, the whole dispatching thing is really cool. It's actually very fun to do, and I actually wish that there was a whole side mode that was just dispatching, and I do hope they add something like that in the future, maybe as an update, hey, here's the dispatch mode, endless dispatch mode. I would probably play that for an hour straight, because that was it's such a fun thing, and the characters are all chirping back and forth between each other as it goes on, and then once your shift is over, that's when the story gets back up and going. Even though there are story beats during the dispatch sections, the main story events happen during the cutscenes, I would call them, but that's where your choices start to matter and stuff like that. So very early on, you go to a villain's bar with these Z-Team characters who are still kind of in that world, and a ruckus starts inside the bar, and it's all about team bonding and stuff like that. So if you have a good relationship with these people, they'll help you out or whatever. There are a lot of choices to make in this game, and I feel like a lot of them really do matter at the end of the day. And there are a couple of endings I believe you can get. I'm very much like, I feel bad when I'm a dick in games like these because I just kind of want to be a good guy. And that's just a me thing, right? I'm Paragon in Mass Effect. I'm a good guy in all these little choice related games. And I felt like the ending that I got was just like really a perfect ending. I really could. I don't even want to go back and play the game again to do other choices because I would feel so bad after getting to know these characters and all that stuff. I might do it eventually down the road just because I'm curious, but also at the same time, like, I love the characters. I love all the characters who are in this game. And I would hate to be a dick to them, that's what I'm saying. But there is a good amount of choice in there to make, and things do actually start to affect the story more and more as the episodes go on. One of my favorite characters in the game was Chase, who is a person who can run at super speed like the Flash, but because he ran at super speed, he aged quickly too. So he aged 10 times quicker while going 10 times faster. And so he's an old man. He kind of looks like Albert Einstein. And throughout the entire game, like, he is just like a core character for Mecha Man. He's there. There's this little dog named Beef that's Mecha Man's dog, and he's like the cutest thing ever. And Beef and him bond. And there are some story beats in this game that really came out of nowhere. Maybe not nowhere, but they were really good story beats in the game. Like, I was like taken aback while playing this game because you get to know these characters pretty well. And this Chase character, he's one who has been there with your character throughout his entire life. And yeah, I mean, there's one part where I don't even want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it at all. I think that here the bottom line is, if you have not played Dispatch, I feel like this is a game that you should play. Whether you want to play it as like a bit of an interactable movie or if you want to do the quick time events, that is up to you. I would recommend playing this game. I would recommend buying this game and playing this game all the way through. By the time I got to episode 4, I felt the need to just kind of keep playing the game. So much so that by the time that I was done with episode 8 and I was done crying, it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, I gotta go to bed. But that was so good. I felt good about finishing up the game, but also at the same time, I was like, it's 1 o'clock. I don't know how did I do this. But but at the end of like episode 4 or whatever, there is such a there's such a good ending or such a sad ending to that. I just needed to see more. I just wanted to see more. I wanted to keep going. So that's why at the end of the day, I decided just like, you know what? All the episodes are out, I'm doing it. And that's also one thing that I wanted to do. Like, when Dispatch originally came out, I was like, yeah, I want to play this game, and I want to, be in the, to see the story. But I also don't want to wait a week for the next 2 episodes to come out, right? And the episodes are relatively short. Some of them take about 30 minutes to an hour to do. The final mission did take probably about an hour and maybe a half to do, because obviously episode 8 is the conclusion to the story. But I felt like most of the levels were about 30 minutes to an hour, which I felt like was a pretty good time for these kind of games, or for this kind of game. And the episodic format, I can see how it could work, obviously. But I'm kind of over the episodic format, which is why I waited for the entire thing to be out in one package. And I'm actually very grateful that they got the entire package out within this year, so that I could, talk about it this year. Instead of it being like Life is Strange. When Life is Strange originally came out, it was episodic and it was coming out like every other month or whatever. And by the time that the final episode came out, it was like February next year. And I was like, I can't put this on my 2016 list or whatever. But then I also really don't feel good about putting it on 2017 list because it was too much, whatever. So yeah, it was like weird. But I'm glad that Dispatch was able to get all the episodes out in a pretty quick time span. Like, I think the first episode came out in September and the last one came out in November. So I think they did a good job with that. So all in all, though, I really, really enjoyed my time with it. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty details about the story and stuff like that. But if you like what you heard and you respect my opinion enough to know, like, when I say a game is great, I'm saying a game is great, and you can trust me on that. I gave this game a 5 out of 5. I think it's a perfect narrative adventure that has a brilliant story. The acting is really well done. The character development and the characters themselves are really good. And the whole dispatch mechanic is very good as well. Like I said, the only thing that is maybe a bit of a critique is that episode one, it's just a setup episode. It doesn't really do much for the game. It's very deceptive in its way of like being like, okay, you think that this is how the story is going to go? Huh? And it kind of goes from there. It kind of has like those regular Telltale kind of tropes in that one episode. But once you the whole package as a whole is very, very, very good. And episode one is still a good episode. Like, it's not a bad episode. It's still a good episode. So in general, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. Definitely worth playing. And once again, like, you could play this as an interactable movie. You don't even need to do the QuickTime events. Even the QuickTime events are fun, lots of mouse controls and stuff like that. And that's not the whole gist of the game. There's also these hacking sections that I thought were pretty fun too. I don't know how much I want to go into that either, but essentially you move around this like little cube and you hack nodes and you have to like charge things with electricity. You need to escape the antiviruses and stuff like that. Just a fun little side thing for you to do as well. So yeah, once again, if they put out like dispatch, only the dispatch part, I would probably play that so much because that was so much fun. And when at the end of the game, I was like, damn, I really wish I had more characters to work with. Like, the characters they give you is great. I love the characters. I love the cast. But also, like, at the same time, like, if they do another version of this or Dispatch 2, or if they just put it like Dispatch the game, like just the dispatch part of the game, I would love to just like mix and match and do all these different things with these characters, because there is a point where you do choose between characters, right? But really, you don't get like a big list of characters to choose from. It's pretty much just like the main cast, and you choose every so often some things to happen. So yeah, like I said, left me wanting more in terms of like I want to play it more, but at the same time, I also felt like my ending of the game was just like my perfect ending. And I'll probably go back and play through again eventually down the road, but just I gotta sit on it a little bit. Like, I love the ending so much; it was very emotional and just very fun there. So yeah, Dispatch, definitely recommend that. 2 thumbs up. Next, I played Kirby Air Riders with an S, and yeah, it's Kirby Air Ride again. I don't really have much to say about this. Like, I played a fair amount of the game so far. It's fun, you know. I think that it has a great graphics and a great music to it, and it had. I mean, it's the full Kirby Air Ride package with a few extra things in there. But at the same time, like, it's crazy that I'm like saying this, but almost rather would have the chaotic nature of Mario Kart World with its kind of mundane open world than this entire game. It's still fun. Like, I still enjoy my time with it, but I just feel like for a $70 release, it just isn't really scratching that fast-paced itch that I had with Mario Kart World or even with the original Kirby Air Rider. And I played Kirby Air Rider when I was a kid. Like, I understand them putting out a sequel to this game. You know, obviously a lot of nostalgia around Kirby Air Ride. And yeah, I don't know. I just like, it's just a lot of like, it's just like a nothing experience to me right now. I'm playing the game and I'm playing through like the story mode, which is kind of set up like a roguelite. And I'm just going through it. I'm just going through the motions, really. You have to collect 9 gems with these random encounters, and you got to fight bosses and stuff. And I just think the game, like, even it's very well polished, it's very well put together. It's just really not resonating with me, which is unfortunate. Because I think that, like, the package itself, if you're a Kirby Air Ride stan and you love Kirby Air Ride, this is going to be like the next best thing for you, because it's literally just the same game again with a few tweaks and extra things put in there. They added the extra button to this one for the special moves. Ooh, big thing right there. And I do like that they set up the game a lot like Smash Brothers, where you're unlocking characters and you're unlocking new machines to use throughout the story mode. Gives you something to earn while going through those things. But yeah, I'm just kind of like going through it, like I said, going through the motions on it, and just like not really, like, I'm having fun, but I'm not like having as much fun as I was with Mario Kart World. Like that that knockout mode is really the cream of the crop with racing games this year for me personally. Like, even though I'm not like super jazzed about Mario Kart World. I think that like in general, like out of these two racing games that have come out for the console, for first party IPs from Nintendo, honestly at this point I would rather play Mario Kart World again over Kirby Air Riders at this point. I am going to finish up the story mode, and I'll probably talk about this game a lot more next week. But as of right now, it's just kind of getting like a meh, maybe wait for a sale type of situation for me right now, because it's just not really speaking to me fully right now. Which is unfortunate because I was pretty excited for this one. Bringing this series back, I felt like it was a long time coming, and I do appreciate them giving Kirby the first party support here for the first half a year of the Switch 2 being out. Like, love to see it because Kirby is a fun character. But once again, because Kirby Air Riders and Mario Kart World are coming out in the same year, that you really got to put them close together and say, hey, what's the pros and cons of both of these games? And right now, like, the pros of Mario Kart World are outweighing the cons of Kirby Air Riders. I keep saying I need to get that out of my vocabulary. But yeah, like, you're playing Mario Kart World and it's like, okay, here's the knockout mode. What is the comparison to Kirby Air Riders? Well, there really isn't a comparison for the knockout world. Here's the open world. As mundane as it is, there's no comparison for Kirby Air Riders. Here's like the combat and like item management of Mario Kart World. And the comparison here is like everything happens for you. You need to get close to the other component, the other person, and you'll automatically attack them. Or if you're boosting, you'll automatically boost through and attack them. Or you can wiggle the joystick and it does a spin move. So there's another pro for another point for them. And then at the same time, like, the whole wiggle your joystick to do a spin attack is very annoying, because when I'm playing these games, I make slight micro adjustments with the joystick to make sure I get the right lane. And when I'm doing that, it does the spin attack automatically, as I'm just like, I'm just playing the game. I wiggle the joystick a little bit to try and right myself, and Kirby or whoever I'm playing as will do the spin attack. And it's like, well, I didn't really want the spin attack to go off because I was just trying to correct my trajectory. But no, can't do that. So yeah, I'm just like not super crazy about the game. I'm gonna finish it up most likely this coming week and get back to playing Age of Imprisonment. But yeah, this one, like Nintendo's output of racing games this year, not really that great in my opinion. I gave Mario Kart World a 3.5. Kirby Air Riders right now is looking like a 3 in my humble opinion. Because as a lot of people do, like, the gameplay is going to be the thing that really impacts the overall score of these games. And the gameplay for Kirby Air Riders just, yeah, it's not singing to me like it did back in the day. So That is that. And maybe next week I'll come back and be like, you know what? I was wrong. If that does happen, I'll eat crow. But until then, I'm just going to play through the story mode and play some other modes and go from there. And I'll talk to you probably next week about that. Next up, SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide came out this past week. And, oh, there's that word again. God, stop it. Stop saying it. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of the SpongeBob platformers, but since Battle for Bikini Bottom, I felt like the Cosmic Shake was a good sequel to that game, took the mechanics and the engine that they were going for Battle for Bikini Bottom, and improved it. The Patrick Star game came out. I thought that was a fun, goofy time. I enjoyed that. And now Titans of the Tide is here. And this is the best looking of the modern day SpongeBob games that we've been getting here. It looks great. The animations are fantastic. The different character skins you can get all look really good too. There's one character skin that like turns SpongeBob into a skeleton, and they actually redid all the animations, or at least like the skeletal animations, funny enough, for the character so that it actually works with the cutscenes. There's no there's no like replacing the skeleton outfit for a regular SpongeBob outfit, right? So which is pretty cool. I love that. But yeah, the graphically this is a great like looking game. The environments you go into, the characters themselves, the cutscenes, they all look very good. And I think that compared to the other SpongeBob games that we've gotten, like Patrick Star, the Battle for Bikini Bottom, and the Cosmic Shake, it is the best looking SpongeBob game by far, which does factor in for me in this case because a lot of those SpongeBob games, they kind of just look slapped together, assets slapped together. But this one, they definitely, from the ground up, reworked the graphic style, and they made the environments look very good, and the character designs looked very good as well. So that's a big point there. Also, the mechanics of the game, the combat and whatever, are all very good too. Like it's still a pretty basic platformer slash, third person combat game, I guess. But at the same time, they've added in these new elements that do change things up. Mainly the swapping mechanic. You can swap between SpongeBob and Patrick. One of them becomes a ghost and vice versa. So what happens with this is SpongeBob and Patrick have very different move sets. Patrick has like a grapple hook they can throw. He can also dig underground for whatever reason. SpongeBob can do like a karate kick forward, and he can also blow bubbles, which is a big thing there as well. And you need to switch up between these characters during platforming sections. This really comes to light where you're doing these platforming sections and all of a sudden you need to switch midair to Patrick to do a grapple move, or maybe you need to switch to SpongeBob to do a karate kick into a balloon and bounce off, and then you need to turn into Patrick to burrow underground and shoot out of a geyser. Like there's so much creativity with the platforming in this game. I almost wish that it was just a platforming experience because the combat is a bit basic, all things considered. The enemy characters are pretty much what you expect. There's a regular basic melee character, a basic ranged character, and then there's a beefy melee character and a beefy ranged character. And then there's two other enemies that are a little bit different. One of them is they come in and they swoop attack you. And the other one is like a jellyfish, a ghostly jellyfish that sucks things in and does damage, and then it also shoots out like jelly or whatever at people. So, it's a pretty basic roster of enemy characters. But I think the game does shine with the boss fights. Strangely enough, like most of these SpongeBob games have pretty good boss fights to them. You can look back all the way to the original Battle for Bikini Bottom as well with this. But this game does have very, very good boss fights. It's a boss fight against Sandy, which was really good. There was a boss fight against a treasure chest, which actually sounds pretty rudimentary, but it was very good. The final boss fight was also very good as well. So the boss fights in the game, really good. The combat in the game, kind of, your regular SpongeBob affair. But the platform in the game is where this game really shines. I thought the platforming was very good. The puzzle solving was okay. There's a couple of very basic rudimentary puzzles to do throughout the game. But for the most part, it was fine. The game does still suffer from the glitchiness and the overall jankiness of the experience. There was a couple of times where, just things didn't really work out the way you expect them to. Just a little glitchy, a little whatever, a little bit of frame rate drop here and there. Just things that they could iron out in the future with the next iteration of the series or in an update for this game as well. I feel like at this point, the base game works really well and it plays really well. And I just wish that they could iron out these glitches. They could iron out this frame rate, because for the most part, the frame rate is fine, but there are sections where there's too many enemies on screen, or there's something kind of in the distance that just has like a 10 second per frame second, like going across the screen. Just really rudimentary things that I feel like should be ironed out at this point, especially 3 games into this SpongeBob series. And that's not to say that the game is like terrible for these glitches and stuff like that. They are not super apparent, like they're here and there, but it's one of those things where it is still a criticism of this series, a SpongeBob series, and I do hope that they start to iron these things out a bit better as it goes on. But if you're looking for an excellent platformer with fun combat, but just kind of basic combat in there, good boss fights, it has a fun story to it as well. Neptune versus the Flying Dutchman, and even though at the end of it all, the story is a bit rushed, I would say. Still a fun story altogether, and I think the concept of Flying Dutchman versus King Neptune is pretty fun at the end of the day. So I was pretty excited for this game, and it did live up to my expectations, at least for these SpongeBob games. It was better than the Cosmic Shake, and it was definitely better than Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's better than the Patrick Star game, even though the Patrick Star game is a different animal altogether. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this a thumbs up, and I'm going to say, hey, 4 out of 5, very good platformer. Some things I wish that were kind of tweaked here and there, but for the most part, good game, enjoyable, and I would definitely recommend any platformer fan to pick this one up and play it. Maybe you want to wait for a sale, sure. That I'm not going to poo-poo you for that. But SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide, fun game, enjoyable experience. Had a good time with it. I even went for some of the 100% stuff. I'm not going to go for the 100%, but I did all the side missions that I could, and I also collected a lot of jellyfish in the game. I'll say that. Finally, for this section, I played Black Ops 2 this past week because Black Ops 7, I was so angry about it, and it was actually a bit of a good thing that it was Bunger Month, and it still is Bunger Month. We love Bunger. Someone picked Ninja Zero picked Black Ops 2 for me to play this week, and man, Black Ops 2 is so good still. Like the campaign, on its own is still so good. I love the characters. I love the story beats. I love the choices in the game, even though they can seem a bit rudimentary for a first-person shooter. Like this was the first Call of Duty, let alone like one of the first-person shooters that allowed you to have so much choice in the in the story. And I think they set up Menendez as a really good villain character, and all of his actions and choices and stuff like that. I think the main story for the game is very good. I like how it ties back to Black Ops 1. When you see what Alex Mason and Woods were doing, and then you fast forward to the future stuff where you're playing as David Mason and with Harper. And yeah, it all flows together so well. I do like the level design. I think a lot of the levels are very well designed. I don't mind the strike mode, which is like the RTS mode in the game. I could have done without it, but also at the same time, like it's fine. It's there. It's fine. There's just a couple of story beats for various choices that I have some criticism for. Like if you decide to save Alex Mason, by shooting him in the leg, throughout the entire campaign, Woods thinks he's dead and his son thinks he's dead. But it's so weird because like you shoot him in the leg and they show like in the ending cutscene they show like, oh, his mouth is moving, oh, he's still alive. But why would he wait like 20, 30 years to like show up at the very end of the game? Like it doesn't make any sense, especially because it's like your son thinks you're dead. Like you should at least say, "Hey, what's up?" to your son, right? Like there's some minor things in there that I would change personally. I understand that they have to make you think that Mason is dead throughout the entire game. And they give you that choice to shoot him. I understand them doing that because as a story, they kind of have to work that in there. But at the same time, like maybe you could have changed up the writing a little bit to make it a bit more ambiguous while going through the game, or maybe give you that choice to either kill or save Mason early on so that you're not going through the entire campaign going, oh, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, but knowing like, yeah, you just shoot him in the leg, like, whatever. I suppose also there's that fact that I'm going through the game for like the 7th time right now, and I know how to get the perfect ending and all that stuff. So it's not like this is my first time through, and I don't know that you can shoot Mason in the leg, or I don't know that the intel to tell you that the CIA is working with Menendez like is on the table in that one area, or not to shoot the one guy right away. Like there's a couple things that I know from just playing through the game, and I've played through that campaign pretty vigorously. Like I've done every in and out there. It's almost like my first person shooter version of Mass Effect in that way, where I've done all the things I can do in Mass Effect. Well, Black Ops 2, I've also done everything you can do in Black Ops, gotten all the different endings there as well. The only sad thing is that the game is very much hacked the hell on the multiplayer side of things. People will give you all the trophies if you join a multiplayer lobby, or they'll just be invincible, so it's unplayable in that aspect. And the multiplayer was very fun back in the day. The zombies mode is pretty iconic with that transit mode, even though people don't like it nowadays for whatever reason. I think the transit mode was a pretty fun idea. And then the rest of the zombie maps that are either DLC or on the game are very good as well. It's a very good zombies experience too. So I think as a complete package, it's very good. I just wish that it wasn't hacked in the multiplayer aspect, and that's just the PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 barely has any security on it, as we saw when it was down for like a year. Yeah, and then there's also the aspect of you need to be signed out of your account when you start the game and then log into the account once you get to the campaign screen, because if you've changed your name on PSN at any point, it'll actually crash the game and crash your system. So the way around that is to sign out, load up the campaign, and then sign in, which is pretty funny. And that also apparently disables trophies for you too. I was not able to get any trophies in the game because I had to sign out of my account and sign in once the game started, which was unfortunate. I actually was kind of like, damn, I wish I could earn these trophies again, because when I originally went through the game on my account that got hacked and banned by Sony, I had done like everything for the campaign side of things. Like I was right there. And the only things I needed to do with the trophies was like the zombie stuff, which I wasn't super big into back in the day. Still not, but at the same time, would have been fun to be able to get like a legitimate platinum on the trophy on the game. But anyway, it is what it is. Black Ops 2 still a good game. One of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns and one of my favorite first-person shooter campaigns in general. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Very good. If you have the means to play it, I would definitely play it. It's overpriced on Steam, so definitely buy it used for like Xbox 360 or PS3, because paying $60 or whatever they have it set at on Steam is outrageous, in all honesty. So there you go. Okay, let's move on to what was announced at that game showcase. All right, I'm going to quickly go through what was announced at the Xbox showcase from this past week. Some good stuff here, actually. First up, we have Armatus. This looks like a Darksiders game, but you have a assault rifle in your arsenal, which is pretty cool. Graphically, it also kind of reminds me of like Remnant or something like that as well. But yeah, you have like a little gun, and then you also have a melee attack as well to use. And it does look very cool. It looks very cool. I love the aesthetics of this. It's kind of like a gothic aesthetic here. And then like the fact that it's a third-person shooter essentially, but in like a Darksiders formula, sounds pretty cool. And also the enemy designs and stuff like that look pretty cool too. In the press release, they said Artemis is a third-person roguelite shooter set in a demon-infested ruins of Paris. As the last supernatural warrior of an ancient order, armed with a powerful firearm and incredible celestial powers, scour the city in search of a lost gateway to heaven, the Sunless Gate. And of course, all the games I'm going to talk about today are coming to Xbox Game Pass. As a roguelite, not really super crazy about that, but maybe it'll be one of those roguelites that speak to me. We will see. Also, a game called The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu. This is a co-op survival horror game that's coming in 2026, summer of 2026, my apologies. In the press release, it said, in up to a 4-player co-op, form a group of explorers searching for treasure. In this cursed jungle, danger is everywhere, and monstrous creatures alter reality. Stay clear-headed and tame the jungle before it devours you. I believe we saw this at like Summer Games Fest or something like that. A pretty cool concept, all things considered. I believe we just had like a cinematic trailer back at Summer's Games Fest, but essentially this is the game where it's like monstrous creatures come out, and sometimes you can see like someone in your party as a monster, and you shoot them and you kill them, and well, that's not a good thing. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty cool game coming to Xbox Game Pass, kind of a cool thing there too. And I'm sure if the game does come to Game Pass, I'm sure a lot of people will play it. Like I said, I think it looks cool. Probably going to be a game that I try out here and there. Dave the Diver is finally coming to Xbox, and it actually shadow launched the same day as the Xbox Showcase for $20. Pretty cool there, pretty cool indeed. There's also going to be a physical edition of the game coming out soon. Yeah, pretty cool. Dave the Diver finally coming to Xbox. I believe this was like the last platform that it needed to come to, so that's pretty cool there. A game called Crow's Warn. This is a Hollow Knight just a Hollow Knight in general inspired game where you play as this crow character who kind of looks like one of those plague doctor type guys. But you're in like this gothic world, and the combat and stuff like that very much looks like Hollow Knight. In the press release, they said, explore a dark world inhabited by men and monsters in this action-packed platformer. Lay waste to the monsters that stand in your way with a wide array of stylish combat maneuvers as you attempt to unravel the truth behind the curse of Firandal, which I guess is the city you're in. The game looks very good. This is coming 2026 as well. And this is one that I've seen a couple of times here and there. And like I said, it looks very much like Hollow Knight, but you're playing as this plague doctor character. Looks like he has some different offensive capabilities. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool there. Animation style looks very good as well. Here was a bit of a surprise. Vampire Crawlers. This is a sequel or pseudo-sequel to Vampire Survivors, but it's a dungeon crawler roguelite deck builder, which honestly does kind of speak my language. I love deck builders. As you know, I loved Inscription, and there's a couple other deck builders like Balatro that I love too, and that was a roguelite. So yeah, this one is pretty much, it takes the idea of Vampire Survivors with the pixel art graphics and old Castlevania style, but turns it into a dungeon crawler, a first-person dungeon crawler where you are going along paths, collecting cards, fighting enemies in turn-based situations, and moving on. And it has all the little flares that you expect from Vampire Survivors. So yeah, this is coming in 2026 as well. In the press release, they said, deal world-ending combos and blitz through infested dungeons. Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wild card from Vampire Survivors, is a casual turn-based deck builder with roguelite elements, coming to Xbox Series XX and Xbox and PC 2026, day one with Xbox Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, pretty cool. Love that. Love that for sure. 007 First Light. They showed off the Aston Martin, or the Aston Martin. Yep, it's a car. I'm sure it'll be pretty cool. They didn't really show too much about it, but they did reveal it. Yes, yeah. If you pre-order the game, you get a free deluxe edition upgrade if you pre-order the game right now, which I forgot about. So I need to do that. So yeah. It's a car. It is a car. Clover Pit. That is coming to Xbox Game Pass, and that was actually a shadow drop on the same day of the Xbox Showcase. You can now play Clover Pit. This is the roulette machine roguelite, which I talked about a couple weeks ago. And then also another game called Total Chaos shadow dropped as well. This is a first-person shooter survival horror game, which does look pretty good. In the press release, it said Fort Oasis is no paradise. It's a decaying nightmare where reality crumbles. The creator of Turbo Overkill unleashes survival horror stacked with mysterious monstrosities. Scavenge the craft weapons while a voice on your walkie-talkie guides you through the island depths. So yeah, this looks like a pretty cool game. I don't know if this is a new release, but it is available right now on Xbox Game Pass if you want to check that out. Reanimal has a free demo available right now, and also they revealed that it's coming in February of 2026. The trailer itself looked very good, and they did also make sure to say, like, this is coming from the creators of Little Nightmares 1 and 2. If you don't recall, Little Nightmares 3, which was not as well received as Little Nightmares 1 and 2, made by a different studio, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so Reanimal is the next game coming from the studio, coming February 13th. You can pre-order it now if you so desire. I think this game looks very good. And, you know, I really did like Little Nightmares 2, so I'm hoping this builds off of that formula. And eventually I'll play Little Nightmares 3. I just, you know, with how bad the reviews were for it, I was like, you know, I just don't feel like spending $30 or $40 on this right now. So I'll probably play that eventually in the future. But yeah, as mentioned, there's a free demo available right now, and it is coming in February 13th. Reanimal. Zoopunk. This is a game coming from the same people who did Fist Forged and Shadow Torch. If you don't know Fist Forged and Shadow Torch, one of my favorite games of the year that came out, a very good Metroidvania. This is actually a third-person action game. It's a prequel to Fist Forged and Shadow Torch, where I believe you play as Fist's father, and you're going through these 3D environments. Kind of has like a Souls-like feel to it, but I think it's more action-adventure than anything else. They had some boss fights in there, which looked pretty good, some quirky characters as well. This is coming sometime in 2026 as well, I'm pretty sure. But in the press release, they said play as Rayton, a veteran rabbit swordsman, and take command of a diverse team of playable animal heroes rising against the oppressive mechanical army. Fight with a wide arsenal of melee weapons, explore a stylized diesel punk world, and uncover a long-buried secret of the Fallen Kingdom. Zoopunk delivers cinematic storytelling, expressive combat, and richly imagined animal universe. So yeah, that looks really good. Very excited to see more of that. And no, I don't know when that's going to be coming out, but I will be there day one for that, for sure. Do you like Eminem? Well, if you don't like Eminem, maybe you'll like Slim Shady, because they're both in Hitman World of Assassination. This is a free mission featuring both Eminem and his counterpart, Slim Shady, where you hunt down Slim Shady and kill him. This is coming December 1st, 2025. That's an awfully hot coffee pot. So, yeah, I mean, it's a Hitman level where you go to this like club or whatever, and you need to assassinate Slim Shady, who is Eminem's, obviously, second personality. I don't know how they're going to exactly do this in the game itself. It seems like there's a bit of like a mind-bending thing going on here. But yeah, Eminem in a video game, and this time Hitman World of Assassination. So look at this is free as well. So if you have the game, you can play this for free. And I don't know if it's like a limited availability type thing, but yeah, it's available December 1st.
Daddy.
Tides of Annihilation. This is a like Final Fantasy inspired action adventure game. Very bright game. Lots of light animations. In the press release, it said shifting the action from the ruins of London to the mysterious otherworld realm of Avalon in a Inception-esque sequence. The cinematic-styled gameplay video captured with in-game footage offers the first detailed look at dual frontline battle system and the Mirror Realm. The visceral, stunning action comes to an epic climax as both Gwendolyn and Lamarck, a special ally in this particular fight, shift in and out of Mirror Realm to deliver powerful attacks against the shape-shifting boss Tyrono, showcasing the ability to control two characters in a major boss battle. So, yeah, like I said, it kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy, but to have this whole mirror-shifting thing, which kind of reminds me of the latest Lords of the Fallen game too. But yeah, we'll wait to see more about that. I don't believe it has a release date, but you can wishlist it now. And then real quickly, also a game called Echo Generation 2 is coming in 2026. This is a deck-building RPG odyssey. Deal cards, defy the cosmos, and embrace adventure. Echo Generation 2 is bringing back the first game's spooky supernatural setting, as well as its explosive turn-based combat against cosmic horrors and raging robots. It has a bit of a blocky type style to it, which I'm not like super crazy about, but maybe I'll try this out in the future. Echo Generation 2. Also, a game called Erosion is coming in 2026. Your daughter's been kidnapped. Every death costs you a decade. Explore a roguelite open world where your actions reshape the timeline. Join a cult, steal a ride, gamble cheddar. Collect 100 plus various weapons, abilities, and demolish destructible voxel dungeons. Can you save her before her time steals her away? This is another like pixel blocky type aesthetic here. Interesting idea for a game for sure, and this is coming 2026. Raji Kali Yuga. This is a game that is coming in 2026 as well. Set 6 years after the original game, Raji Kali Yuga expands on the conflict, portraying not just a war among mortals, but cosmic struggles involving gods, auras, and mystical forces. You play as Raji and her younger brother Darash as dual protagonists that you'll control during different parts of the story. I never played the original Raji game. It was on my list for quite a while, but I just never got around to it. This looks pretty good too, so I'm excited to see more about that. That's coming soon, 2026. Roadside Research. This is coming Q1 of 2026. You play as these really weird-looking characters who, I guess they're like aliens who are trying to blend in with humans. So it's kind of an interesting idea. Roadside Research is a comedic co-op simulator where you'll do just that, with the aim of gathering intelligence on humans. Day to day, you'll be responsible for running a shop, stocking shelves, and appearing normal while secretly conducting research on your customers. It also looks like there's some Men in Black type characters who come in and kill you if you are not a good enough in disguise. So that looks pretty cool. That's coming Q1 of 2026. And that is it. So yeah, like I said, pretty good showcase there. All things considered, I liked a lot of what I saw. I'd probably give this like an A tier or something like that. Pretty cool indeed. If you want to check out more of that, the Xbox Showcase is on Xbox's YouTube channel, and there's a lot of cool games that were shown off in there as well. Once again, as I said earlier, the roguelite genre is taking over this town. But a lot of these games look pretty interesting enough that I will most likely play them when they come out anyway. So there you go, pretty cool. Let's go ahead and finish this off with what's coming soon. All right, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. They revealed the physical PS5, Switch, and Xbox release, which is the deluxe edition. There's a deluxe edition as well. So there's a couple things you can get in here. There is the game with a steel book, a set of 15 art cards, a sticker sheet, a poster, and a collectible box. Not too much there, in all honesty, but the deluxe edition only costs $60. The standard edition is $40, so I feel like this is a pretty good deal, all things considered. The game is going to come on March 13th, 2026. And pre-orders are available now for both digital and physical editions of the game. So if you want to check that out, I think this is a pretty good, like, standard the deluxe edition, and I am happy to see that there is a physical version of the game coming out. I will probably be picking that up because you know me, I love my physical games. So there you go. There's a Switch 2 and a Switch 1 version of the game. I do not know if the game is going to be on a one of those key cards. It does not say on the box art that I'm looking at, but very well likely could be a key card in that. So just be careful. Hellraiser. This is a game coming out that is based on the Hellraiser universe. Hellraiser Revival is a gory, graphic, gratuitous, sex-filled game that the YouTube video says it all. The YouTube video says it all. Like, if you are squeamish in any way, you're probably not going to want to watch the trailer for this, but this is looking like a really true to form Hellraiser game. Just crazy stuff in there. Let's read the press release about this. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival introduces a totally new Hellraiser story starring Aiden, who must unlock the dark powers of the mysterious Genesis configuration puzzle box to save his girlfriend from terrifying horrors of hell. Discover a realm of terrors as you take on dark cultist worshippers, sex-crazed deviants, and infernal monstrosities, harnessing unique abilities and an arsenal of jaw-dropping weapons that can be instruments of both misery and delight. You'll have many ways to defend yourself, but can you save yourself from eternity of torment? This is coming in 2026. I would definitely recommend watching the trailer for this. It looks very good, and if it is a first person like single player story, I probably could find myself getting lost in this game as well. And yeah, looks very good. Looks very Hellraiser, like a true to form Hellraiser. So check that out if you so desire. All right, the next F1 game is just going to be a DLC for F1 25. So F1 26 is just going to be a DLC expansion for the series. They are planning on redoing the entire game for F1 27, which will come out next, like 2027, I guess. But yeah, they said following on from F1 25's commercial and critical success with praise from players, media, content creators, and F1 drivers alike, the team is building an experience through paid expansion. The premium content update will bring players closer to the sport's major changes for 2026 that includes new cars, sporting regulations, teams, and drivers. Working with a partnership with F1 and all 11 teams, the 2027 F1 game will deliver a refreshed experience that expands on what longtime players have loved from the franchise, while simultaneously celebrating the excitement of Formula One in new ways, immersing new and existing players in the modern era of the sport. So, pretty, I mean, that's fine. I think the expansion is going to cost like $30, I guess. So yeah, this is something that I've been saying that they should do with Madden for quite some time, like make a game and then do a DLC or an update that's paid update to update the rosters, and then work like in the background after 5 years, work on a new version of the game. But this it seems like this might not be a year-to-year thing where they do a DLC, because they are working on a new F1 for 2027. But we'll see what happens. As of right now, though, interesting thing that EA is doing right there. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is available right now on Switch and Switch 2. This was a bit of a shadow drop situation where they announced that the game was coming and then it was here. If you don't know what Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is, this is the reboot of the Tomb Raider series that came out originally in 2013 from Crystal Dynamics. The best of the reboot series, in my opinion, even though Rise of the Tomb Raider was pretty good as well. I just didn't really like Shadow of the Tomb Raider at all. But the original Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, very good. There is no physical edition of this for Switch 1 or Switch 2, but the digital version is available now for $20, and it's actually on sale right now for $17.99. So if you haven't played this game on any other platform or gotten it on any other platform, it is a good experience. I really enjoyed this one. And I think that it's definitely worth trying out if you've not played it yet. But if you have it already, I don't think that the Switch 2 or Switch 1 version is going to be that different that you're going to want to play it. But, use your own judgment if you want to. Donkey Kong Bonanza is getting a new DLC in-game event. So if you own the DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza's Emerald Rush mode, there's a new event coming on November 25th, and it will hang around until the 2nd of December. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because Chunky Kong and Lanky Kong are two statues in the game that are being added in. So, yeah, that's pretty big for me as a Donkey Kong 64 mega fan. Chunky Kong and Lanky Kong are two new statues you can build or something in the game. So, pretty cool there. Love that a lot. We have some crossover here. Among Us and Stardew Valley are collabing, which is actually now live right now. The Stardew Cosmic Cube will be available for a limited time from November 18th through February 18th. And the best part, it's free. Get the beans and get enough beans, and these crops can all be yours. Just get it before they wither away. So yeah, essentially, Among Us characters and items that are Among Us inspired are available in the game for a limited time, and you can earn them by, growing and trading beans. I'm not going to go through everything you can get in the game because there's 50 something wearables or whatever you want to call them. Among Us crossover with Stardew Valley, two indie game hits, legends, some would say. All right, let's round this out here. Here are some games leaving Xbox Game Pass on November 30th. Barbie Project Friendship, Lords of the Fallen, Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, and Steam World Build are all leaving Xbox Game Pass on November 30th. I would recommend playing any of these games, even Barbie Project Friendship. But Steam World Build is definitely the one here that I would say definitely play that before it's up, because that is a very fun builder-type game. And then also here are 9 games that are leaving PlayStation Plus in December of 2025, December 16th more specifically. Battlefield 2042, Grand Theft Auto 3 Definitive Edition, Arcade Paradise VR, Sonic Frontiers, Forspoken, Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition, Firefighting Simulator The Squad, Surviving Mars, and Star Trek Bridge Crew, all leaving on December 16th. If you want to check any of those games out. All right, and that'll do it for today, folks. Let's go ahead and move on to Guess That Picture, where I show you a zoomed-in screenshot from a game, and just tell me what game that it's from, either in the comments below on Spotify or YouTube. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations, or on the Discord. I'll give you a super reaction, and you'll get the admiration of your peers. Let's go ahead and view today's picture right now. All right, once again, if you know where that picture is from, let me know in the place that I told you to. All right, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Very much appreciate that. This is a weekly podcast. I put a lot of work in this. I hope you appreciate it, because I appreciate you for listening and or watching, whether it be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. If you want to check me out, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, etc. I also have a VODs channel, Yemmy the Ferret VODs, if you want to check that out. I would also very much appreciate you liking the YouTube video if you're listening to this on Spotify or wherever. Also liking the YouTube video. It does help the channel grow. Also, rating the podcast on Spotify or giving a review on Apple Podcasts also helps as well. If you want to check out my other podcast I do, it's called Film Freaks with a Z, where we talk about movies. The latest episode is about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Next week's episode is going to be about The Green Knight. If you want to check that out, that'll be available next week. All right, folks, thank you so much once again for listening. I tried to make this one a little bit shorter, and I guess I did. I guess I did a little bit. But I appreciate you all. Once again, I am Yemmy the Ferret. I will talk at you next week. So long. The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Sound clips included during the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. The intro and outro music was made by Gail Laliot on Fiverr. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions are my own. Thank you for listening.